Parents have described brain balance as life-changing.
Created by one of the country's most respected specialists in childhood neurological disorders. He is in Omaha and with us this morning to explain how the program works.
Dr. Robert Melillo is here this morning. Doctor, good to see you this morning.
It's nice to meet you.
Oh, it's great to be here. I'm very excited.
I've heard a lot of great things about you. Your best-selling book is called Disconnected Kids, right? Disconnected Kid. And then you're a co-founder of Brain Balance Achievement Centers. How did this journey start for you? Walk us through this thing.
Well, it really started as a professional. My specialty has always been neurology and rehabilitation, but it really started as a parent of a child that was labeled with ADHD. And I was already a college professor teaching neurology, and I knew a lot about the brain, but I didn't know a lot about ADHD. And being a parent, somebody says that, my natural instinct was, okay, well, what is it? What is ADHD? What's happening in the brain? So that I could try to figure out how to fix it some way, try to fix our kids. That's what we do, right? And when I went out, I realized that, anybody I talked to, they didn't know what it was. So I really spent the next 10 years researching it and interacting with some of the top researchers and really discovering what was actually happening in the brain, and then developing a program to try to change those things.
Now, Brain Balance Centers across the country, how many?
We have about 130 right now.
Wow, including one now in the Omaha area, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But this program, how does it work for parents who are just hearing about it, or they're just in a position to start to research this on their own?
Right.
Describe the approach.
Right. Well, to try to simplify it, again, what we discovered and what we've been able to show in research is that all of these issues, kids that are struggling in school with reading problems or with attention problems or any type of learning social problem, it really comes down to this thing called a functional disconnection, which is really this developmental imbalance in the brain. The networks in the brain, there are certain networks that are developing really too strong, and there's other networks that are really underdeveloped. They're not damaged, they're not broken, it's not really genetic mutations. There's just this developmental imbalance, and so I developed a program to identify that and to be able to really strengthen these underdeveloped and weaker, immature networks so that they can connect and integrate with the other parts of the brain that are already developed.
Who benefits from this program? Because, do you have to have some sort of diagnosis? There's a lot of kids out there whose parents are saying, my kid doesn't listen to me, he doesn't pay attention. Seems like there's a lack of focus. Who is this good for?
Yeah, it's really good for almost any kid struggling in any way, but especially if there's clearly, listen, some parents are not doing their job, but that's not the case. Most of the time you get parents doing a great job, and yet they have kids that are still struggling. Some of the early signs are if kids miss a lot of their milestones or are delayed, things like when they crawl, when they walk, if they crawl properly, those really matter.
From early on.
Early on. People are told, even if they have trouble breastfeeding because they can't, they don't have normal muscle tone in their mouth. These are things that we know that actually later on, these kids have delays in reading or speaking, or they have poor coordination, and so those are early signs that really tell a parent, yet there's this imbalance. Also, many of these kids have really great skills, like standout skills, and yet they struggle in another area. And the parents, it's confusing to the teachers and the parents, and they don't understand, how can they be so good at this but struggle in this? And that's because of this imbalance in the brain, and that will never correct itself. That you have to do something to correct that, but it is something that is correctable on a long-term basis.
So what ages do you recommend that parents are looking to enroll?
Well, we work at K through 12 primarily, so kindergarten through high school. And we really, all those ages, we have kids. Obviously, the earlier you can get us a kid to us, the easier and the quicker it is to make big differences, but we can really resolve or significantly improve most of these issues. And it's life-changing. Because we see, and a lot of the parents come in and they say, this was me when I was a kid. I struggled like this, and nobody noticed it, and nobody did anything about it. And, and they got kind of complacent about it. And so now they realize, they're like, wow, you can change this? And the answer is yes.
One thing I want to talk to you about is I went to this concert earlier this year. Zac Brown Band was in Omaha. You partnered with them? How does that work, that connection there?
Zac's a good friend. And actually, he found me when it was like 2008 before he released Chicken Fried or anything. He's always been interested and has been developing a camp for kids with disabilities and typical kids, because he went to a camp like that as a kid. And so he found me when he found Brain Balance, and he heard what we were doing, and he saw the results, and he had some family members and band members that brought their kids to us. And he said, can you help me with this camp? I want to incorporate some of these brain balance principles into the camp. Now, you know, then he obviously became a huge success, and now he's raising, I think, somewhere between $25 to $50 million, and he has 600 acres in Georgia. Camp Southern Ground should be opening in the summer.
I think he talked about that at his concert.
Yes, yes, it's a big thing with him, and a lot of it again is built around our principles. And my most recent book that I came out, Disconnected Kid Nutrition Plan, came out this year. He actually helped me with that book, wrote the foreword of the book.
Another one of the pillars. It really is such a comprehensive approach for parents who just felt like there was nothing to see, that there's something that not only exists but is working to the point that people say it's life-changing. This event tonight in Omaha, what do you expect at Noah's event?
Well, I want to get people the understanding of how deep the science is underneath this. A lot of people are out there and it's something that's new, and they may, you know, go to the internet and they feel like, you know, there's not a lot of research, but there is. And I want to give people the understanding of what this is all about, where it came from, and how it may work for their child.
6 o'clock tonight. Also want to mention to people out there, Disconnected Kids is available in bookstores across the city, online, of course. You can go to Amazon, wherever books are sold. Brainbalance.com, that's your website to find out more information.
And the new Achievement Center open in Elkhorn, and we know so many of you are grateful to hear about it and to know that he's here, and you've got that free event tonight at Noah's. Thank you.
Well,
and
thank
thanks
you
for
so
squeezing
much.
us in.
Great to meet you.
Oh,
I
thank
know.
you.
Appreciate it.
Got a lot going on.
Guest of the morning.